Arsenal. They're becoming a bit of the comeback kids at the moment, right? I think that's kind of what they're showing themselves in the Premier League this year. 2 weeks in a row now, they've kind of left it a little bit late. It has been a little bit of a scare against the two newly promoted teams in Leicester and Southampton, but give credit to Arsenal and give credit to Arteta. I think the changes that Arteta made today were a huge catalyst in Arsenal getting back in this game. And I think there's one guy in particular that we have to talk about. He is just a goal or assist magnet at the moment. That's Bukayo Saka. But let's start off with that first half because I have to be honest with you, right? I had the City and the Arsenal game on at both kind of on either screen. Arsenal, man, in the first half, it was feeling stale. It was feeling predictable. Honestly, I thought it was very, very easy for Southampton to defend. They were really trying to hurt them on set pieces, but I thought Southampton, for the most part, I was wondering, did Ramsdale give them the drop on how Arsenal attack on set pieces? Because I thought they actually handled it pretty decently. But clearly, there's a guy in the Arsenal front line that I personally like, or I have liked in the past, but I think, look, he's got to fix up at some point because the way he's playing right now, I don't think he has a long-term future at Arsenal. That's Gabriel Jesus, right? It's crazy to think that him and Zinchenko came to Arsenal off winning a treble, or a 3-peat at City at that point. Or sorry, did they win the 3-peat? No, they won 2 in a row. They won like 4 and 5 at that point. They came in as like the top dogs from City, and they were supposed to elevate the level and kind of show the example for the young Arsenal team that this is what it takes to be winners. And within 2-3 years, both of them are complete afterthoughts. Like Zinchenko is maybe the third choice left back at Arsenal when everyone's fit, maybe fourth, because you got Calafiori there, you got Kivior there. I think Tomiyasu is probably preferred over Zinchenko. You could even argue Jurrien Timber would rather play at left back under Arteta than Zinchenko. He's completely out of the reckoning. And Jesus as well too, right? I wouldn't say attack is Arsenal's most stacked position, but I think at the moment there's a few different combinations that are probably preferred without Gabriel Jesus being involved. Today he gets the chance from the front, and wow, honestly, I don't want to say leave the football before the football leaves you, but it's another really, really poor performance from Jesus. I think the stat today, Kai Havertz has scored more goals for Arsenal than Jesus despite joining a year later. That's got to be a massive concern. I know Jesus' game has never really purely been about goals. It's supposed to be his overall play. But I think even in that regard, man, I think Arsenal have outgrown him personally. But Sterling as well was another one making his first start in the Premier League for Arsenal. I just don't think he was up to it today. Let's see long-term what he looks like. I don't think he's had a great start to life at Arsenal. I know he scored against Bolton. I don't think he's really had a crazy cameo to date. I think I'd like to hope for his own sake that he's kind of just getting back into the swing of things. He's learning the system. He's learning the team. But at the moment, if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'm probably looking at that and laughing at that situation, saying, I told you so. Because right now, doesn't look that great. Let's see how he adapts into the team. But I think I give massive credit to Arteta for changing that up as early as he did. Because the substitutions of Merino, Trossard, and Martinelli, I think they completely changed the game. I think they allowed Havertz to move a lot further up and a lot more central, which I've always said I think is Havertz's best role. I thought in the first half he was playing a little deeper almost like an interior at times. And I've always thought that Havertz is not that great at that role. But going up front, I've always said it. People keep saying Arsenal need a striker to win the league. I don't agree. I think Arsenal can win a Premier League title with Havertz up front. I think what he offers you, holding up the ball, running the channels, his intelligence, he still scores you goals. I think you can win it with him. I don't think he's an issue there. And that kind of triple substitution that he made at 1-1, getting those two guys that I previously mentioned off the pitch, bringing in Martinelli, bringing in Trossard, who both had parts to play for Arsenal's next 2 goals. I think it's really, really good management from Arteta. And at times, you might see a manager wait for 70 minutes, 75 minutes to make those changes. He made them relatively early, 15 minutes into the second half. I was impressed. But Southampton actually took the lead in this game. I don't know whether Arsenal fans think Sterling got injured or not. I have to take another look at that. I think he probably goes down a little late there. Southampton go up the other end. Cameron Archer looks Saliba dead in the eyes. One touch in the inside, bangs it past Raya. Could Saliba have done a little better there? I think he could have, personally. I'm not saying he's at blame for that goal. Could he have maybe done a little more to stop him? I think so. I do think he could have gotten maybe a little tighter. But give credit to Arsenal, man. I think they responded pretty early after that. And it came from Kai Havertz, that guy that I'm speaking about. Saka plays the ball into his feet. One touch for Havertz to get it under control. And the way he banged that past Aaron Ramsdale, right? Ramsdale has no chance. Off the post and in. I like Havertz personally. I'm an admirer. But one thing I don't like about Havertz for the most part is how he strikes a ball. I don't think he has great ball striking technique. In fact, sometimes I feel like he scuffs it. I don't think he really hits it like direct with like power and with true meaning, if you guys know what I mean. I think there's better natural ball strikers of a ball than Kai Havertz up front. But this strike, he hits it perfectly. He hits it so sweetly. to get Arsenal back into that game. So I think it was well taken. I think he's had a great start to the season. I think all the doubts over Kai Havertz at that point have completely been extinguished, especially since Arteta has moved him full-time up front. I think that's completely released his game. And I'm even watching him right now, right? Yes, it's a lot on Arteta for putting him in the right system, getting the right pieces around him, asking him to do things he can do. But this is also where I look at confidence for a player. I think confidence is the most underrated aspect of a footballer, right? Because you can be absolutely world-class talent. You can be in the best team. But if you don't really have, the full manager's backing and your players backing, your teammates backing, and even the stadium's backing, it doesn't matter how good you are and what kind of role you're being put in. You're going to struggle, man. I think another example right now is Jadon Sancho. Just having that confidence from your teammates, your manager, and even confidence in yourself, it can completely unlock new dimensions to your game. And I'm looking at Havertz today, right? Here's this incident, right? Honestly, you might even forget it. I think he was on the left, 1v1 against the defender. He kind of drags it and then tries shooting from the right at an angle. It hits the side netting. But even like the confidence that he has to even take that on and like try shimming the defender and striking from that angle. You have to have a bit of confidence in yourself. You have to have a bit of swagger to even attempt that. And I think it's something that before he joined Arsenal and maybe even 6 months into his Arsenal campaign, he really didn't have that in his game. I think there was still a bit of self-doubt in him. Right now, he's just kind of playing so freely at the moment, man. So big up to Kai Havertz, man. I think he's completely shut up every single doubter. The second goal is, again, that man's fingerprints all over it. Bukayo Saka picks up the ball on the right, and it's so brilliant from Saka, man. That pass, that cross to the back post, there was like murmurings of offside. They checked out in VAR for a few minutes, but for me, there was never any doubt. That pass is so pinpoint excellent from Bukayo Saka. He puts it on an absolute plate. Do you see how close to goal Gabriel Martinelli is when he actually finishes that? He's basically right in front of Ramsdale. That pass hangs in the air so well and like just perfectly falls into Martinelli's path. Saka is becoming such a complete threat out there, man, both in terms of his crossing, his passing, his dribbling. You saw a few times today, Saka was twisting his fullback inside and out, man. Honestly, he was crossing him up. Shit was crazy, man. Inside, outside, inside, outside. Insane, man, honestly. And look, I think the way they're defending him nowadays, almost a double team at all times, it makes it very difficult for him to consistently be able to shoot, cut in and shoot. But he has so many weapons to his arsenal, no pun intended, that it doesn't really matter how you try and defend him. He will create moments for his team no matter what, whether it's a pass, whether it's a dribble, whether it's a shot. And the game finishes off, again, by Bukayo Saka. He calls game, man. Trossard leads like a 3v2. He probably made the wrong decision, by the way. He probably should have slotted in Martinelli off the left. He loses the ball, but it falls direct. Or I think the Southampton player takes it. Southampton, by the way, the way they try building out from the back all the time, the way they insist they want to play out from the back every single time. For me, it's so corny. It's so hard to watch at times. Like, these guys have no, game IQ. They're so immature at times. Like, I don't know whether it's instruction from the manager or it's just a young team in general, but they don't manage games defensively well whatsoever. That moment right there, get the ball booted up the pitch, try and start another attack. Southampton's defender is like he's haggling on the ball like he has 50 years to kind of make a decision. Brother, you're playing in the Premier League against Arsenal, who are pressing at home. Get rid of the ball. Saka wins it off him first time, finishes it bottom corner, no chance for Ramsdale. A goal and 2 assists for Saka. He started the season so potently. Honestly, I think he has an assist in every single game that he's played in the Premier League this year. And me personally, with this assist stat, I'm always very cautious of like giving players credit for assists, because I don't really gas up like, oh, if you have the final touch before a player dribbles past 5 players, that's an assist. I don't really buy that. But you look at the assists he's getting off corner kicks this year. He's potent, and his crossing in general this year, it's gone up a level in my opinion. At the moment, he is undoubtedly one of the premier players, not just in his position, but in the league and in the world as well too. How fitting for him to do it as well after all the talk about Cole Palmer this week, which was deserved. He had an amazing weekend. Phil Foden is always in these conversations. Lamine Yamal has kind of emerged as the next big thing on the right. You had Jamie O'Hara saying that Bukayo Saka for him isn't world class. He isn't better than Palmer and Yamal. And I always say this, right? Allow the statements, allow the social media posts. Just speak your game on the pitch. Say what's on your mind with the ball at your feet. That's what I always like to see from the best players. I'm really tired. I'm a Man United fan. Every single time something goes wrong at the club, or every single time there's a bit of controversy, instead of showing it on the pitch, we get a statement on Instagram from Bruno Fernandes or Marcus Rashford. For God's sake, show it on the pitch. Reply with your actions on the pitch. That's what Bukayo Saka has done. He never responds to Jamie O'Hara. He didn't respond to Pires when it came up. Just do your talking on the pitch. Bukayo Saka has done that. And for me, right, the doubters are going to say what they want. The haters are going to say what they want. There's always going to be critics in football. There's only one way to reply and shut them up. That's by scoring goals. That's by winning games. That's by being brilliant. And that's what Bukayo Saka consistently continues to do. Every single time there's a bit of controversy from a pundit about him, every single time there's a bit of doubt, for the most part, you can pretty much rely on Bukayo Saka that exact same week to have something to kind of shout about after the game. So big up to him. I also want to give a lot of credit to Martinelli, right? Because I think the last few weeks, you're starting to see a return to the best form. The last year, and I would say the opening games of the season, it was looking rough for him. And I was even somebody saying Sterling's inclusion into the team, I think you could see him starting very, very soon for Arsenal. But maybe that competition is exactly what Martinelli needed. Or maybe the emergence of Calafiori as Arsenal's new left-back has really, really, really unlocked a new side of Martinelli's game, because Calafiori is giving you these tremendous inside runs, right? He's not overlapping. He's like underlapping. He's inverting and basically making these slaloming runs down the center of the pitch, meaning you have to kind of worry about an extra body in there, which allows Martinelli to isolate his man 1v1. It allows him to stay wide. And another thing as well, too, you can never question Martinelli's work rate. That's something that even in his worst performances, he gives you tremendous work rate. But his finishing is starting to get a little better, guys. I can't lie. In front of goal, he's starting to give you a little something again. And that's the thing with Martinelli, right? Like, he's going to work hard. He's going to run at his defender. He's not always going to beat him, by the way. But at the end of the day, Martinelli is an outlet. He's a final action player. He has tremendous movement. He's extremely fast. He's going to get chances. If the chances aren't going in, it's a problem, because he's not really a player that's going to be like dictating play or like creating for others. That's more Saka, right? But if Martinelli starts scoring these chances, all of a sudden, you're back again talking about a dangerous, dangerous option for this Arsenal team. A dangerous, dangerous option. So I think his return is coming at the perfect part of the season for Arsenal Football Club. Again, faced with controversy today, they've responded in the perfect way. They remain level on points with Manchester City, chasing Liverpool. But when you look at the next few fixtures, this is really where we're going to see a bit from all three of these teams. Arsenal's fixtures coming up, if I can just read them to you. They got Bournemouth away. They got Liverpool at home. They got Newcastle away. They have Inter in the Champions League at the San Siro. And then they have Chelsea away. That's not easy. But you look at the start of the season, it wasn't easy on paper either. They had PSG, they had City, they had Spurs. They didn't lose any of those games. They had Villa, they didn't lose any of those games. If they can get past this run of games, the next few weeks after that start to look really, really easy on paper. You look at it. Forest at home. That's a pretty easy result. West Ham away. United at home. Fulham away. Everton at home, Palace away, Ipswich at home, Brentford away, Brighton away. They can win all of those games. They can very easily win all of those games. So I think if Arsenal can manage to survive this next run of games between Liverpool, Inter, Chelsea, Newcastle, boy, they could go on a really, really serious run, man. They could go on a really, really serious run. But like I said, shout out to Saka, shout out to Martinelli, shout out to Arteta, and shout out to Arsenal Football Club, man. They just keep on going.